pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Oh, geez, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to, where's Tim Booth? Is he here? Sorry, Tim. I was supposed to call up Tim Booth to lead us in the pledge, but I completely forgot. Let's do it again. Come on up, Tim. We'll have you. You could do it better than I could. Sorry. So, Tim is currently serving as the Director for Veterans Affairs here at Lackawanna County and is a member of VFW 7069 in Clark Summit. Tim served in the Pennsylvania Army National Guard for 22 years from 1985 to 2006, joined as a private, commissioned to Officer Candidate School, and retired a major in the Army National Guard. He had 2 deployments, Europe 2002 to 2003, and 1 to Iraq from 2005 to 2006. Currently lives in South Abington Township in Lackawanna County, and I apologize for skipping over you. So.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Tim. Sorry about that. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our last Commissioners meeting.
Motion.
Second, on the question, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and the minutes have been approved. We have a proclamation this morning declaring September 17th, 2025 to be World Alzheimer's Awareness Day in Lackawanna County, and I know we have a few representatives who would like to come up to the podium now and say a few words. But before they do, I'm going to read this proclamation into the record. Whereas Alzheimer's disease is a growing public health crisis affecting more than 7 million Americans, with more than 282,000 Pennsylvanians aged 65 and older diagnosed, representing 11.5% of adults over 65. And whereas the caregiving community plays a vital role in supporting those with Alzheimer's, with 470,000 caregivers providing 831 million hours of unpaid care valued at $15.9 billion, despite 76.6% of caregivers experiencing chronic health conditions, 32.5% facing depression, and 16% reporting poor physical health. And whereas Alzheimer's disease claimed over 4,000 lives in 2024, and the cost of caring for individuals with Alzheimer's and other dementias is projected to rise from $384 billion in 2025 to nearly $1 trillion by mid-century. And whereas healthcare services for individuals with dementia include 12,384 hospice residents with a primary diagnosis of dementia, 1,470 emergency department visits per 1,000 people with dementia, and a 22% hospital readmission rate, with Medicaid costs for Alzheimer's care reaching $44.4 billion in 2025. Now, therefore, we, Bill Gaughan and Chris Chermak, Commissioners of the County of Lackawanna, Pennsylvania, we recognize the urgent need to address Alzheimer's disease through increased support for caregivers, expanded healthcare resources, and continued research to combat this devastating illness, and proclaim September 21st, 2025 as World Alzheimer's Awareness Day in Lackawanna County. And if you'd like to come up and just say a few words, we would appreciate it. And just state your name for the record, too, so everybody knows.
Good morning. My name is Mark Entwistle. I'm a volunteer with the association. I have a bunch of different roles as a walk committee member on a committee team, an advocate. I've been down to Harrisburg and down to DC advocating for Alzheimer's public policies. And today, in my role as an awareness champion, I just get to give a quick presentation on the awareness for everybody in the community on Alzheimer's that they might not know, something we can just pass on to them. And as Commissioner stated, September is World Alzheimer's Month, with Sunday being Alzheimer's Day, which is great. It is very important to remember that Alzheimer's disease is a serious condition, but awareness and support can make a significant difference in the lives of those affected. By participating in World Alzheimer's Month, we can contribute to improving the understanding, care, and research related to Alzheimer's disease. I lost my mother and my grandmother to Alzheimer's. My grandmother passed in 1998. She had Alzheimer's for roughly 15 years before passing. My mother had it for about 10 years, and she passed in 2018. Lived a lot of my life figuring out what Alzheimer's was and how I can help. And back around 2012, I decided to get involved, and I've been doing all of my roles ever since then, which I take to my heart because I care for not just my family, not for myself, but for my son. My son's 23 years old. I want to try to do whatever I can to make sure that he does not live in a world with Alzheimer's. You know, he's seen what went through with my mother. Hopefully he does not see that going through with me or my brothers or sisters or anybody that he might love later on down the road that he might know. Some of the things that we do with advocacy, with the public policies, we've had a lot of wins in the past. Last year we did SB 841, which is now Act 111, which actually is for the ADRD, Alzheimer's disease and related dementia. It's a new office that has been created in Harrisburg. The Secretary of Aging, Jason Kavulich, basically runs that, and he's put a team together. And that was one of our biggest wins last year, to work with Senator Brown from Monroe County in order to get that taken care of. New policies we have in place are some of the Dementia Care Training Act, which is looking to try to get more training for primary care units and everything that take care of the people at home, to try to get them more training for that. The ADAPT Act, which is the Accelerating Access to Dementia and Alzheimer's Provider Training, which will actually give PCPs more training for and how to deal with Alzheimer's and the patients that might be there. So that's one of our very important things that we're actually pushing right now, to try to get as much support as possible to get that taken care of. With facts and figures, Pennsylvania statistics, Commissioner Gahn, he went through a lot of that, which is very, very important. With over 280,000 people in Pennsylvania living with this disease, it's something that we have to push forward to try to get that taken care of. Caregivers is very important. Caregiving, the dementia care training for that with them to help takes a lot of that caregiving away from parents. My father, my grandfather, they both sat there and went through 24 hours a day of taking care of their wives. And it took an awful lot out of both of them, where they both passed within a few years afterwards because they couldn't do anything. They didn't take care of themselves. They did everything for their wives, and it took an awful lot on them with their health. And unfortunately, it caused both of them to pass within a few years. So the caregiving, one of the other caregiving acts that we were looking at is something that's coming down the road to try to help any caregivers here in Pennsylvania that they could possibly get some money back and hopefully help themselves out. One of the big things we like to do, and we're actually going to be there on Friday too for the Senior Expo, one of the biggest things that we push and we try to get to everybody is, just bear with me for 1 second here, is the 10 healthy habits for your brain. There's a lot of different things that you can do to help yourself, puzzles, eating right. Diabetes is something that is there, that is part of a way to get Alzheimer's. So keeping yourself healthy is a really, really good thing. A lot of people don't know that they think the same things with dementia and Alzheimer's, but there is a difference between the two. We do have some flyers available that we can leave here too, and if not, we can get you flyers also. But some of the things for, with dementia and Alzheimer's, dementia is a general term for decline in mental ability, severe enough to interfere with the daily life, while Alzheimer's is a specific disease as part of dementia. So there is a big difference with that when you go through there. One of the things we're also looking for is also for volunteers. Like I said, I started doing this roughly 10 years ago as an advocate. We're always looking for volunteers to help out, whether they be an advocate, to join us on the walk committee, looking for something, even care and support. One of my team members, Katie, is in charge of running that. So we're looking at, anybody that's willing to help out with care and support. No, actually, I think that's about all I've got for now. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But just remember too, and I did want to say, there is a form that I think Katie was passing around, if she did. Just to sign, it's an attendance list, just so we can actually have a record that I spoke as a presentation, that I gave this, and that we have names and say, okay, well, this is how many people were here for that day. And also, just to know if anybody here has ever dealt with anybody with Alzheimer's, if you just show of hands, if anybody has. So that, and in one aspect, I can't say that's good, but there's a lot of people that have been going through this an awful lot too. So just remember, if anybody you hear dealing with this, you're not alone. There's a lot of us around that can easily help out. We have some reference cards. There's an alz.org, ALZ.org, and there's an 800 number, 800-272-3900, and you can always call that number for any kind of help. I have some of my own business cards here too, if anybody would like to just talk to us afterwards. We'll be here for a little while. So I appreciate the time taken for allowing me to be here.
Thank you for all the work that you do. And as I have said numerous times up at this dais, to our human service professionals, all of you are truly angels on earth for the work that you do and to try to help people when some of them are at their lowest points and need the help. So thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And if you could come up, we'll get a photograph presenting you with the proclamation, okay? Okay, opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda items only. Would anyone like to discuss any of the agenda items? No? Okay. First up is Resolution 25-0228.
This is approving the current payables. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County has hereby approved the following payables. Lackawanna County's general fund numbers 3907005-391291 inclusive, totaling $1,246,079.58. The county's electronic fund transfers, including all payroll accounts, totaling $5,327,942.03. Adopted regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on September 17, 2025. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second, on the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and the resolution has been approved. Resolution 25-0223.
It's accepting the quote from Axon Enterprise. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby accept the quote from Axon Enterprise Incorporated for the Department of Adult Probation and Parole for 5 years. The agreement is to commence on November 1st, 2025 at a cost of $79,296.00. Adopted regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on September 17, 2025. Mr. Chairman, if you have any questions, our Deputy Chief Probation Officer, Mr. Alfredo Pisa, is here to answer them.
Sure.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Alfredo Pisa, Deputy Chief, Lackawanna County Adult Probation and Parole. As Mr. Jeffers said, this is a request for you to re-enter into a new 5-year contract with Axon Enterprises for TASER equipment for our department.
Very good. Any questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second, on the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and the resolution has been approved. Resolution 25-0224.
Authorizing the filing of LSA applications. Whereas Lackawanna County is interested in promoting economic development and revitalization within Lackawanna County, and whereas Lackawanna County is submitting grant applications to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development through the Monroe County Local Share Grant Program on behalf of various agencies as detailed as per attached. And whereas this resolution authorizes the County Board of Commissioners and the Chief of Staff to sign and authorize all documents and accept any awards related to the Monroe County Local Share Account grants. And that Lackawanna County Board of Commissioners does hereby authorize the submission of these applications to the Monroe County Local Share Account Grant Program on behalf of the above-named entities and their respective projects. Adopted at regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners, Lackawanna County, held on September 17, 2025. Mr. Chairman, here to speak upon that is our Director of Economic Development, Ms. Kristen Magnano.
Thanks, Chief. Good morning, Commissioners. The county is putting forward 12 applications for local share account or LSA Monroe funding. A resolution approving submittal for these entities on behalf of Lackawanna County is actually a requirement of the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. These applications close on the 30th of September. We do anticipate many more. This is only 12. Right now, I believe we're going to be somewhere around 36. So we're getting more applications in as we speak. And these are 3-year contracts. And these are also no cost to the county, and we get a 5% admin fee for administering these grants.
Okay. Any questions for Director Magnata? When do we usually find out once they're submitted?
It'll be this spring.
This spring, okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second, on the question, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution has been approved. Resolution 25-0225.
This is approving the Office of Youth and Family Services Provider Agreements. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners, Lackawanna County, is hereby approved the Department of Human Services Office of Youth and Family Service Provider Agreements for fiscal year 25 through 26 as per attached. Adopted at a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on September 17, 2025. Mr. Chairman, here to speak upon that is the Office of Youth and Family Services Administrative Officer, Ms. Kathy Schneider.
Morning.
Good morning. Concern, Diacon,
No.
Family and Community Ministries, and Diversified Treatment Alternative Centers are all annual renewal of foster care contracts for dependent and delinquent children. The rate that the agency is charged depends on the needs of the child, and these services are reimbursed 80% by the state.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Snyder? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I think she might have something else.
Do you want me to
Do you have something else to add?
I had the other 3 contracts.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Getting ahead of myself.
That's okay. Bethany Christian Services, Chelsea Safe Haven, and Taylor Diversion Programs are all new contracts for dependent and delinquent children who are difficult to place and need residential placements. The rate that we're charged depends on the needs of the child, and these services are reimbursed 60% by the state.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second, on the question, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution has been approved. Resolution 25-0226.
This is entering into a service agreement for the Trolley Museum. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby approve and enter into a 1-year HVAC service agreement with Siemens Industry Incorporated for the Lackawanna County Trolley Museum. The agreement is to commence immediately and expire August 31st, 2026 at a cost of $12,296. Adopted at a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on September 17, 2025. Mr. Chairman, here to speak upon that is the Director of the Trolley Museum, Mr. Christopher Calvi.
Mr. Calvi, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. On behalf of Lackawanna County's Electric City Trolley Museum, we proposed to enter the agreement with Siemens. They oversee the heating and air conditioning, they maintain it, the safety, and the cost efficiency of operating the Trolley Museum in a decent climate. And it's great because I'm proud to announce that we're over 2,000 visitors to the good as of this date over last year. So it's important that we maintain the climate within the museum.
That's great. Doing a good job. Thank you very much. Any questions for Director Calvi? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second, on the question. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution has been approved. Next up is a motion to accept the proposal accept the proposal from Urban Electrical Contractors Incorporated for electrical work in the Government Center basement at a cost of $10,620, and I'll entertain that motion.
Motion.
Second, on the question, Mark Dewar, our maintenance director, is here to Give us the skinny on it.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. This is a proposal to put a sub-panel down the basement, which it would make us more efficient on any kind of work that we do downstairs, and add in more electrical plugs and everything like that throughout the basement. So that's what the cost is. You know, there were three quotes. The lowest quote is Urban Electric, as you see, $10,620.
Okay, very good. Any questions for Mr. Dewar? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion has been approved. Okay, next up is the opportunity for the public to address the board. Good morning.
Good morning. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me all right before I start. Okay. I'm good to speak now? Okay. I know that I've spoken to the board, I believe it was 2 meetings ago, as a part of a group, NEPA Stands Up, asking for the county to put forward an ordinance to protect LGBTQ people from discrimination in our county. There were several speakers who would come up then, and there will be some today who will follow me talking about the importance of protecting our queer neighbors in Lackawanna County. But I'd like to speak for a little bit about the county's role in protecting its queer residents, as well as setting the tone for what kind of things are acceptable under its jurisdiction. Because at the moment right now, it's legal outside of Scranton and Dixon City for employers, landlords, and social services to discriminate based off of gender identity, sexual orientation, or proximity to those who are LGBTQ. And I think a good example of that right now is actually one of the people in attendance, I believe it was back in June at the Scranton City Council meeting, during a rant who was trying to harass me, had said that he would openly fire any of his employees who came out as LGBTQ. And that sort of speech, as hateful as it is, at the moment is completely protected in Lackawanna County. And that man, if one of his employees were to come out as gay or trans, could fire them without cause. And I don't believe that that's the type of community that we want to have here in Lackawanna County. It's common sense for most people that what rights you have should not depend on what zip code you happen to be in. And it's common sense for most people that your access to housing, your access to employment should not be determined by who you love or who you are. And it should only be determined by your own qualifications for those things, right? But at the moment, that's not the case. And many, many people across Lackawanna County, including myself, have been subjected to discrimination, to violence, as well as many, many, many threats to my safety and to my life due to the fact that I am queer. It's something that's gone unaddressed for far too long in our county, and I believe that the commissioners here today likely agree with the notion that we should move forward with protecting our neighbors and making sure that no one feels unsafe, no one feels unwelcome here in Lackawanna County. So that's about all for today, from me at least. Thank you for the time to speak, and have a good day.
Thank you very much. You as well.
Commissioners, Bob Ball of Scranton. If I may, I'd like to take a moment of silence to honor and tribute to Charlie Kirk. If we could do that, please.
It's your 5 minutes.
Commissioners?
It's your 5 minutes. You could do whatever you want.
Okay, if we could have a moment of silence, please. I'm asking everybody here, if you would just stand for a second here as a moment of tribute.
Mr. Bolish, you don't, nobody has to stand. If you want to do whatever you want.
Go
but it's your
ahead,
5
I'm
minutes.
asking a question here.
Oh, God.
It's up to the people. Those that would stand, would you please stand? Those that don't want it, it's your choice. In tribute to Charlie Kirk. Thank you. I happen to know Charlie Kirk personally, and I've met with him in the past. What we just heard here about the queer organization and everything else and how everybody wants to be protected, let's keep in mind, it's their organization that assassinated Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk wasn't killed by anybody else. It was them.
Excuse me, we need order in the audience, please.
It's
Thank you.
their organization that are looking and don't like the way we live, so they decided to shoot Charlie Kirk because of his views and his philosophical ideas of what America should be. It's rampant in this country that political people or anybody that speaks out has to worry now about their lives because of these queer organizations and these other sick organizations that think we need to live their life. Well, I'm going to send them a message. It's not going to happen. This is our country. If you want to be here as a participant in our country, our Constitution. And if you can't live with it, get the hell out of here. But to murder an individual, a family man, a father that's speaking out with our religion, whether you like it or not, it's too damn bad. That was a disgrace. And the queer organization's got to be held accountable, all of them, through the whole organization, what they're doing. Attempt to shoot the president and everything else they've done, political people. I'm not about sitting here and say we need to put an issue in Lackawanna County to protect them. That's their choice to be protected on their own. That's why we have laws, and that's for everyone. The law is for everyone, and they got to understand that. I'd like to see you get rid of McGloin on the commissioner thing right here. That says Lackawanna County. He's no longer a commissioner. Put a piece of tape over it because he embarrassed all of us by doing what he did with the taxes and all. The thing I really want to talk about is the two hospitals here in Scranton. I'd like to see them become employee-owned. Get our legislators, the county, the city council, the so-called mayor in Scranton that's going to do so much for us in the future, to make them employee-owned. We don't need a buyer to come in and tell us what to do. You have the best people in this country in our hospitals right now. I just was in CMC for over a week, and I'll tell you, the care I received is second to none. And I've been in hospitals around the country, the Mayo Clinic, the Cleveland Clinic and all, and our people are great. And I would ask the commissioners to try and put something together with all the so-called politicians, Flynn, the rest of them, and make it an employee-owned facility and do something for the people in this community. We have legislators all through Lackawanna County and other counties that use our facilities. Let's make it and give it back to the people that we deserve. We don't need some high-priced executives coming in, not paying taxes, and I think we have to look at taking all the nonprofits and let them start paying taxes. That'll take care of what you created when you gave us the new tax increase. You spread it across everybody. The last thing I want to bring up is, Mr. Gahan, you made a statement, and it was publicly in the paper. A commissioner is a commissioner. Don't be running here if you're not going to be a commissioner and want to be a commissioner. Am I correct in that statement? You made that statement. It was public in the paper.
You have 10
don't have to
seconds left,
answer
so
it.
I'm counting down the
However, at the
seconds.
King's protest, you stood there and said you weren't acting as a commissioner.
It's like New Year's
And
Eve.
based on that,
Thank
I'm
you.
standing here today to ask
Would
you
anyone
to
else like to
resign.
address, would anyone else like to address the board? It's like New Year's Eve when you're watching the clock go down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I feel like putting streamers up. Hi, good morning.
Hi, Michelle Tierney, Glenburn Township. I think we all need to take a moment to think about the fact that our country is in the state it is in, clearly because of hate. Assassinating any human life is a failure on all of us. Mental illness and having the ability to have incredible end-of-life weapons is a systemic problem in our country, in our world. So anyone who could stand in front of someone and blame everyone but themselves for creating hate needs to stop. That clearly isn't the reason why I'm standing here today. I'm standing here today because I would like to spend my 5 minutes in asking our commissioners questions about the reassessment process that both of these commissioners were inherited with a contract with a firm named Tyler Technologies. I'd like to hear how the process is going. I have been hearing that there are strong voices in looking to pause this process or this contract. I'd like to know what the ramifications would be if we paused. I'd like to know why there is even a thought of pausing. I would also like to know how the process is going, what kind of conversations you're having weekly with Mr. Tobin and his program and his department. I'd like to hear how it's going down at Steamtown with all of the appeals. I have talked to council members in different municipalities who have shared that there is a huge fear in a lot of seniors who are very confused and don't know this process and feel that they're going to lose their homes. So the fear factor is out there. We spoke of Alzheimer's today. If that is the case of a reason for pausing, I would hope that these commissioners are doing everything and anything in their power to make sure that us seniors have been given every opportunity to communicate and understand what that paper meant to them if they're a property owner and how they can go about understanding it. So my time is almost up, but I'd like to actually ask for there to be conversation with both of you in answering those questions. And if I may ask for Commissioner Shermack to speak, because unfortunately most of my information comes from the newspaper, and you've been quoted on wanting to pause this process. And I'd like to hear from you specifically what the ramifications would be for us taxpayers, for us municipalities that rely on that, and for us school districts that rely on mostly the only form of revenue for all of those entities is property taxes. The property tax formula is set by the state. Almost 58 years ago was the last time our properties were assessed. I know this is a very complicated situation, but it is our duty to make sure that this process is complete to the best of our ability. So thank you.
And I will address that, because that was actually part of my comments at the end of the meeting, so.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to address the board?
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Frankie Malacario, resident of Scranton. I'm here today as a member of Pennsylvania Stands Up, NEPA Stands Up. Real quick before I get started, Gary, I love the suit jacket. So I'm here, as I was a few weeks ago, in order to speak as a proponent for a non-discrimination policy in Lackawanna County. I'd like to speak on a different marginalized group as opposed to the LGBTQ community. Non-discrimination policies would expand to multiple protected classes, not just LGBTQ people. There's the version that was passed in Lehigh that also takes into account weight and height for people so that they're not discriminated against in those circumstances. I think it's incredibly important for us right now, both with the context of the federal administration and the facts on the ground here of including housing status as one of the protected classes. There have been several instances in the city of folks being removed from sheets just because they were houseless, even though they were there with money with the intent to spend it at the store. So this is something that has been happening inside of our city, and by adding housing status as a protected class in the non-discrimination policy, it would protect against discrimination for these folks as well. There should be no reason that anyone should be turned away if they have the money in order to buy something at the store. Just because they are unhoused shouldn't be a reason for them to be removed from the property. So that is something that I would like to highlight. I was told that it was going to be on the agenda today, but looking at the agenda, I didn't see it. So wondering if we also have a timeline and how that's looking on your end. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Don, do you just want to give an update on, Don Frederickson, our solicitor, has been doing the research on this. Do you want to give us an update?
Sure, Commissioners. We have researched it. Under Pennsylvania law, we can enact an ordinance. However, there are a number of considerations. I've been in discussions with Lehigh County. They did enact the ordinance, and they do have it in place. However, the way they set it up is a little different. The other issue we got to look at is the cost. What is this going to cost the county? So we're trying to get that together, and we should have a report. We've been a little busy with the election and stuff, Commissioners, so probably after the election, we'll be able to get back to you on that.
So you'll put together a memo
Absolutely,
detailing
yes.
everything that'll be
Yeah.
available to
Yeah.
the commissioners and to the public?
Absolutely. Probably after the election, though.
Okay.
Just so you know, yeah, okay.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the board? Ma'am?
Hello, Kristen Xanthus. I'm just a person in support of everyone here. There's really no reason on any earth to hate on anyone because of the way they want to be. I mean, we should make them feel comfortable. They're a part of this community. They're a part of the county. I mean, they have a heart. They have feelings. We shouldn't hate on anybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the board?
Hello, my name is Cremisius Clino, resident of Scranton, and I just wanted to say that I was systemically discriminated against in this state by a government-appointed person. And I just wanted to say that this stuff does exist. It does happen to trans people. For the record, I am a transgender man. I wasn't always presented as this, so, I mean, protecting my rights to exist, my right to, excuse me if I'm a little disorganized, I wasn't prepared to speak, I apologize. Protecting my right to live, exist, without getting worried about getting fired, without being unhoused, anything like that, just because I'm a resident of Scranton. If I change zip codes, like one of the other people said, I could be fired for just being myself. I could lose my house just for being myself. That's not fair. As a taxpayer, it's like, what is the point at that rate if my rights are not being protected as a citizen who lives here? And I just wanted to say that some of us blend right in, some of us fit right in. I am like any other active member of the community. I go to protests, I go to rallies, I pay my taxes, I do all that. So it's like, why am I not on equal footing? Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, good morning. My name is Holly Ord. I'm a resident of Scranton. Just to tie it all up in a neat little bow, whether you are housed or unhoused, part of the LGBTQ plus community or not, we all deserve equal opportunities to thrive in our communities. Through the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act, Lackawanna County has the power to implement a non-discrimination ordinance and create a local human relations commission that protects all of us in this room, all of us in Lackawanna County. And we really appreciate the work that you've done so far on this and look forward to working with you more on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to address the board? Okay. Commissioners, other business? Commissioner Chermak.
All right, well, let me start. I have a few things that I want to comment on, and I'll finish up with reassessment. And I do want to address the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk, along with so many other senseless tragedies that have gone on in this country. It's shaken this country to its core. As a leader in this community, our county is far better than this. Vile hatred and bloodshed. Violence has no place in America. We simply cannot allow ourselves to spiral further into this abyss of destruction and division. Our nation must remain a safe haven for free expression, where we unite firmly against those forces that seek to tear us apart. We must dismantle that poison at its root for the sake of our families and our future. Anything less is a betrayal of what America stands for. Another issue that's been going on is the delay with the commissioners. So we've been in a 7-month delay replacing the former Commissioner Matt McGloin. And since February of 2025. And it's nothing short of unacceptable. And under the Home Rule Charter, Democrat nominees were put forward with candidate ultimately selected by the judges, yet ongoing court challenges have ground everything to a halt. Our residents deserve far better than this endless political paralysis. We need a third commissioner now. We've needed it for a while. And if it ends up being a Republican, I'll be very happy. That's just my personal opinion. That's why I'm committed to driving to a swift resolution, whether upholding the judicial appointment or backing the special election on November 4th, to get our board back to full strength and refocus on real governance for the residents of Lackawanna County. The third thing I wanted to mention was which is a top priority for me, it's our budget. And, you know, I've been working alongside our CFO, Dave Balzoni, along with I have a bipartisan budget study group, and we have a lot of things that we're dealing with. We're confronting a looming multi-million-dollar shortfall, and that's even after 2 years of a little over 40% tax increases. I'm resolute in presenting a balanced budget by December that avoids any further tax hikes, achieved through meticulous planning and decisive cuts to any wasteful spending. Reassessment. Now, first, I didn't vote for Tyler Technology. The current property reassessments are plagued with errors in valuations for countless homes, vacant land, and commercial properties, and they're widely off the mark. Tyler Technology's effort to update over 102,000 parcels has delivered sticker shock to far too many, with values locked in for 2026. Without proper safeguards, this threatens to devastate seniors and those on fixed incomes, while improper commercial appraisals of commercial and industrial properties could cripple our economic backbone. That's why I'm fighting to slow this process down. I think we need to extend formal appeals by 6 months, and we should ramp up the outreach to make these corrections to the mistakes. I'm committed to championing tax caps and other protections for our most vulnerable residents, while ensuring equitable commercial valuations to safeguard our county's growth and prosperity. You know, this is the reassessment is a revenue neutral thing right now. And for us to continue, and this conversation needs to go on long after this meeting is over, but for us to continue down this path with incorrect valuations, which is unfair, there's elderly, there's people that don't understand the process, that are unsure what to do. They haven't even had a chance to appeal. They don't know what to do. We need to work with them as well. Commercial properties, we haven't even gotten to those appeal hearings yet. Again, if we have to be very careful on how this moves forward, and if we start hurting the businesses, the commercial businesses, the industry here, that could be devastating. So I'm not saying to stop this reassessment. The reassessment has to be done. I've said it all along. It's got to be done correctly. And if the numbers are wrong, moving forward, millages will be wrong. The tax that the school districts get and municipalities get are going to be incorrect. As soon as these tax bills go out, you're going to see a wave of more appeals. Again, that's going to mess up the complete tax structure that we have, that the municipalities have, that the school districts have. And then there's going to have to be adjustments made. So all I'm asking for is, let's get the numbers correct. If you proceed with incorrect information, that doesn't do anybody any good. That's where we are right now with incorrect valuations. We've gone over 50 years without it. Everything's out of whack. And if these numbers are wrong, that's not a way to proceed. I've been in contact with all of our appraisers, or our assessors that are doing the hearings. And I'm getting their feedback as we speak on what they're seeing and what their thoughts are and what improvements we could make. And just without a scientific study, I'm getting reports from a lot of our folks that are doing the hearings that are saying we're close to like 90% of our hearings we're finding mistakes where they're totally out of whack. So if the little percentage that they're doing right now is at 90%, where's the rest of it? Where's the ones that they didn't appeal? Where are the ones that don't know how to appeal? So we move into next year and implement this, and people get their bills, it's too late. I strongly suggest that we have safeguards in place. I have a whole list of things that other counties do to help people on fixed incomes and the elderly. Our veterans, if you're on 100% disability, you can get you could be tax exempt. So, I encourage anybody there to visit our VA downstairs, and they can go over that process. But it's not, again, I'm not trying to stop this. It's wrong. The numbers are wrong. There's been a tremendous amount of mistakes. And look it's not, this was a massive undertaking. And for them to take a couple of years to get these valuations and then dump them on us, and in a matter of however many days we have to make all the corrections, that's not fair to the assessor's department and to the county and to the school districts and to the municipalities. Because if we start correcting things after the fact, it's going to mess up the entire process. So I don't see why that's such an issue. Again, it's revenue neutral. At the end of this whole thing, we're supposed to collect the same amount of taxes we collected in the first place. So it should have no effect. I have no issue with that. I don't think anybody in the assessor's office has an issue with that. And I just think, in my opinion, it needs to be done correctly, and it's not correct. The numbers are not correct. So I'll use an example. The Steamtown Mall, the marketplace, has an appraisal of, I'm just going to ballpark it. There's an appraisal, a professional appraisal done on the Steamtown Mall that's in the low 20 millions. His assessment came back at $127 million, his new appraisal. It's over $100 million wrong. John Basilega owns properties on Lackawanna Avenue right now. His tax payments for just Lackawanna Avenue are $2 million a year, just for Lackawanna Avenue. If we were to follow through and appraise his building at 120 or whatever, 127. I think actually it bumped up to 150 million after they re-looked at it, which to me is insanity. If we were to do that to a person like that, a business person, that building will be sold to a nonprofit and we won't get a penny. I mean, it's impossible. And I just think, in fairness to him and to all the other developers and all the other commercial property owners and the industrial properties and the economic development that we're trying to muster here in Lackawanna County to help lower our property taxes to individuals, will be devastated. So there's a lot more to what I'm trying to say. I'll be happy to talk to you about it more. Look, I'm never the smartest person in the room. I don't feel that what I'm saying is incorrect. I don't think that it doesn't make sense. I think it's only fair to the residents, the property owners, to do this and to do it correctly. Again, it's been a mess for how long now, and now we're gonna jump into and just making a bigger mess. Vacant land, there's vacant land, little slivers of property that people have, a side lot or this, that they're, they paid taxes on it, was valued at $1,000. Well, their new assessed value is now $50,000, $60,000. Well, it can't be right. You can't sell that. The whole method was, what could you sell it for? Well, if it's a little sliver that's no good to anybody, doesn't have a value of $50,000 or $60,000. Whatever it is, whether it's 500, 1,000, 2,000, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it has to be fair and equitable to everyone. And what I'm talking about is to make it fair and equitable to everyone. I don't think that's out of line. I don't think it's wrong. I'm looking out for the best interests of everyone here in Lackawanna County. And I'll be happy to, help anybody that has a question on their property value. I've done it many, many times. I get calls all the time. Our folks over at the Steamtown Mall are doing an excellent job trying to just straighten everything out that's being presented to them. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. You come in with you could have a 300-acre farm with buildings and whatever, and you get 15 minutes to sit with this group. Well, it might take more than 15 minutes. And I just think, in fairness to everyone, Tyler Technologies had a couple of years to do this. I think the residents and property owners should have more time to get their balls all in a row and get everything satisfactory. I mean, there's always going to be issues. There's always going to be court appeals. There's always going to be things going on. But I would rather go in with a small percentage than a huge percentage. And now you're going to clog up the courts, the assessor's office. It's just going to create chaos. So, again, it's just my personal opinion. I was hired to do this job, to work for everyone here in Lackawanna County. Whether you're a registered voter or not, if you own property, I'm trying to do the best I can for everyone. Again, I don't see an issue with it. I don't see anything detrimental to school districts, municipalities, or the county. I think it needs to be done correctly, and right now it's not.
Thank you. Okay, well, with all due respect, I'll start with reassessment. In my opinion, most of what Commissioner Chermak just said is either completely false or, and I'm going to explain why, or completely misleading. And I wish that our Director of Assessment, Pat Tobin, was here, because he would agree that what he just said, most of what he just said, is misleading and or just not factual at all, and typical scare tactic to scare people instead of presenting them with the actual facts. The other person who I wish was here, who was in the back and just left, is our CFO, Dave Bolzoni, who Commissioner Chermak obviously has a great deal of respect for, who I just had a conversation with the other day, who also said that to pause the reassessment would cause chaos and would be completely irresponsible, not just for the county, but for every borough, township, and municipality who is currently working on their budget. So let me explain and kind of rebut what, respectfully, what Commissioner Chermak just said. So the vast majority of property owners in Lackawanna County clearly disagree with Commissioner Chermak's unsupported assertion that property values determined by the reassessment are incorrect. That's not simply my opinion. We know that because roughly 96% of those property owners have not appealed their new valuations. Out of 100 and some thousand properties, we only had 4,700. And Commissioner Chermak and his solicitor and others have thought that we were going to have between 10 to 20,000 appeals. We only had 4,700. Pausing the process now, which is apparently what he is suggesting, even as appeal hearings are underway for that roughly 4% of property owners who believe their new valuations are incorrect, would be the definition of irresponsible public policy. So let me start from the beginning. Our predecessors, the last administration, decided to conduct the reassessment because it was clear that the county would have lost a lawsuit filed by 3 Scranton residents who made a very convincing case, and this is an extremely important point, that they had been overtaxed for years because of the county's failure to conduct a comprehensive reassessment since 1968, whereas people with more valuable property had been relatively undertaxed for the same reason. So you have a bunch of people who are, by all rights, not paying their fair share, and a bunch of people who are paying way more than they should be. And that goes to the point of reassessment. It is to establish equitable taxation based on actual current property values, rather than relying on an obsolete, skewed assessment baseline that is nearly 60 years old. The lawsuit was suspended when the county agreed to reassess. Here's another very important point that he failed to mention. There now is a court order to complete the reassessment by January 1st, 2026, and we are right on schedule to comply. And if Pat Tobin were here, who actually knows what he's talking about because he's been doing this for the last few years, he would tell you that the reassessment is going the way that it's supposed to go. Another point, almost everywhere in the United States of America, they conduct reassessments. A lot of places conduct them every year. The reason why there is confusion and some people are scared, which I totally understand, is because we haven't done this in almost 60 years. So, if we were to pause the process for a year or 6 months, as Commissioner Chermak has recommended, that lawsuit would immediately be reinstated, since the county very likely would lose, given that similar suits in other counties have resulted in court orders to conduct reassessments. It would be a colossal waste of money to even defend against it. So Commissioner Chermak, with all due respect, is talking about saving money and cutting costs. If he has his way and he wants to pause this thing, we might as well just flush the bills down the toilet, because that's essentially what we would be doing. Delaying the implementation of the new property values would only serve to prolong the highly inequitable and highly inaccurate ancient valuations that prompted the taxpayers' lawsuit in the first place. Commissioner Chermak said, it's all incorrect, everything's wrong. That is false. Are there instances where people do not agree with their valuations? Yes. So if you got your valuation in the mail and you didn't agree with it, the first thing you were able to do months ago was an informal appeal. So you could come down here, do it over the phone, and you could say, I don't agree with this, here's the reasons why. They could change it there, okay? If you got it back and you still didn't agree with it, the second thing you could do is a formal appeal, which is what's going on right now. So the idea that there's all this chaos and Tyler's done everything wrong, that's just simply not true. That is simply not factual. And if you got your letter in the mail and you said, I don't think I could sell my house for $250,000, it's not like you're held to that amount. You can go and argue, which is going on right now here as we speak, down at the mall, to say, I don't agree with this, okay? Then, if you get the letter back from Tyler and they say, no, this is what it is, you can then, correct me if I'm wrong, Don, go to the Court of Common Pleas, correct? And you could argue your case there. So the notion that the fear factor, everything's wrong, this was screwed up, It's not true. And I would love to have a representative from Tyler in here and Pat Tobin, who's the Director of Assessments, to sit at this table like they did previously when we had them come in and tell the public the truth. Don't be afraid. This is what's actually going on. The reassessment will resolve one of the county's most fundamental and longest-standing problems: inequitable and grotesquely unfair property valuations based on a 1968 baseline that has absolutely no relevance to modern Lackawanna County in the year 2025. Commissioner Chermak's proposal for further delay, with all due respect to him, would only increase that inequity, sow confusion, which is, in my opinion, what he's doing here today, and create more problems rather than solve existing ones. The only logical course for the cause of fair taxation, for the county's economic progress, and for sound public policy is to complete this reassessment and to implement accurate property values for the purpose of fair taxation. Delaying it causes chaos. And here's the other, I'll be honest with you, the political ramifications of this, okay? We have to vote to approve the valuations by when? November 14th? Right, by November 14th. So if Commissioner, I don't know if there'll be a third commissioner by then, depending on when the person will get sworn in or who that will be. But if Commissioner Chermak votes against that, which I'm assuming he will.
Which I will, yes.
Based on what he said today, with all due respect, total chaos. That will cause chaos. And you can go call Dave Bolzoni, who he thinks is the best thing since sliced bread, and I would agree with him, who knows what he's talking about. Just had this conversation. I suggest Commissioner Chermak call him up and ask him his opinion, and call Pat Tobin and ask Pat Tobin what he thinks about not voting for the valuations. Total chaos. So then, and God knows who's going to vote to bring it back, because we'll be forced to do it. We'll be right back in court. It's ridiculous. We're almost done with it. And again, if you don't agree with your valuation, even if you went through the appeal process, can you appeal next year too, Don? Right. You can appeal every year if you don't agree. So those are the facts. Reassessment is a political hot potato. Anyone who goes near it isn't in good shape. But you know what? When I was elected and I told people, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to give it to you straight. It's what I said when I had to raise taxes 33%, and I'll get to the budget in a minute. When I had to raise taxes 33%, I told you straight, here's what's going on. Here's what's going on with the budget. Here's how this county's been mismanaged for the last 10 years. Remember, I've only been here. This is my second year in office, and I've uncovered a lot. Peeling back the onion here is unbelievable on the incompetence of what has gone on here the last 10 years. This move to not vote for this, respectfully, would be the single greatest, most incompetent move in the history of county government, bar none, period. And again, if you don't believe me, don't just take my word for it. Call Pat Tobin's office, or go down to the second floor and go visit him, or call our CFO, Dave Bolzoni, and ask him what will happen, and ask him how ridiculous. Or call the people from Tyler who do this thing all the time. I think Monroe County's doing their reassessment. Call them up. It sells to the people who play politics. So the old woman, and I understand it, I have 5 children. I'm making peanut butter and jelly on one slice of bread and folding it over at this point. I get it. My budget's tight too. But I'm going to tell you the truth. This is meant to scare the hell out of people. And Commissioner Chermak is coming in to save the day. He's not going to vote for it. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's going to happen anyways, except when it happens, we're going to blow so much money on the legal stuff and so much money on the fact that then, depending on when it gets brought back, the valuations will be that much older. It's absolutely ridiculous, respectfully, in my opinion. The second thing, the budget. Commissioner Chermak just said he's got his budget team together and they're looking at everything. That's great. I hope to God that they fix the calculators from last year, because the
You don't have to be a smart ass. You know, you don't have to have scripts and just be a jerk. If you have something to say it.
I don't have a
and
script.
Speaking
but
of
I would appreciate
formalities.
Excuse me.
No, you
Point of
excuse
order.
me.
Point of order, Mr.
When
Chermak,
people
it's
were
my turn to
notified
speak.
by statute
It's
for
my
their
turn to speak. Point of
reassessment,
order.
were
I
they
didn't interrupt you.
were they notified by statute properly? Yes or no? They were not.
Excuse me.
They were notified, they were not notified of what their previous assessment was, what their new assessment was, and what their estimated taxes were could ultimately be. That is already against the law. There's gonna be a lawsuit with that.
Now,
So there's a lot of issues.
Excuse me, you're interrupting me, and it's my
If you're
time.
gonna keep
telling
respectfully
the truth.
mentioning my name and then beat the crap
You'll
out
have
of me,
a-
I'm not gonna just sit here.
You'll have a chance to respond, but at least let me finish my thoughts, and I'm doing so in a respectful way.
I don't know who
On
writes your
the-
stuff, but I don't know. This is ridiculous.
Nobody writes it. I write my own, and I'm speaking off the cuff
well,
here
you
because
better-
I know what I'm talking about. But excuse me, and just please let me finish with all due respect.
As long as you don't keep beating up on me, you can say whatever you want.
I'm telling the truth.
You always say that. You know,
on the-
anytime somebody says, honest to God, I'm telling the truth, I know they're lying. That's the
Oh.
way I feel.
Okay.
So you can say what you want. If you're gonna keep this crap up, I'm gonna leave, because you're wasting my
See,
time and everybody else. And you're gonna say,
I've
all
been
he
in-
does is walk out the room.
Well, yeah, I've
that's
been in-
because if I don't, I'm gonna tackle somebody to the ground
Oh,
here.
now he's threatening
So-
violence. Well, that's a Republican
Well,
tactic,
yeah,
too, I guess.
there you go again.
I'm telling you.
move to make an
this,
adjourn.
You know what this is called, ladies and gentlemen? It's called a debate of opinions. He's made his points today, and I'm simply rebutting them in a very respectful manner. And he's obviously flustered because I am giving you the facts. So let me make a point on the budget, and let me continue, and I hope that I'm not interrupted again. On the budget, Commissioner Chermak just said he's working so hard with his budget team to make sure everything's together and there's a looming shortfall, so on and so forth. The point I was making before I was interrupted was, last year, he presented a budget, an alternative budget to the one Commissioner McGloin and I put forward, that was so wildly inaccurate and so off base, millions of dollars short. And he told people, they're raising your taxes 33%, I will present a budget that can raise it 6%. You know what our CFO says, Dave Bolzoni? You know what he says? It's nonsense. And he stood at the podium and said, we cannot move forward with Commissioner Chermak's budget because it is not realistic. It's made up. The numbers were made up. So my simple point in saying that was, when he talks about the budget and this budget team that he's working with, I hope to God that they replace the batteries in the calculator, because it took Commissioner McGloin and I literally 5 minutes to figure out with simple math that the numbers didn't work. And he's already signaling to you what he's going to do there with this budget, which is a disgrace. The third thing, for a guy who talks about the truth and doing things the right way, he was fighting against having a special election. He said at the top of his comments about the delay with installing a third commissioner here. Look, from the very beginning, I've been fighting for transparency and doing things the right way. Have a special election. He sat next to Judge Nealon and myself, a sitting judge, who laid out why we should have a special election, and he wasn't for it because he doesn't want the people to decide. And I've said this multiple times, what's the deal? What kind of deal do all these people have that they don't want to let the people decide who the next commissioner is? So this is what I'm up against. Misinformation, fear, confusion, just trying to play the political game. And I'm not playing it. I'm going to tell you the truth. Reassessment, check with the experts. The budget, don't pay attention to his budget team because they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. And that's the truth. And to be interrupted by a sitting commissioner when I'm simply rebutting what he's saying, with respect to him, this is a conversation. Then he just said he was going to, I guess, tackle me or something. Maybe that's what Donald Trump does, but that's not what we do here.
Not Donald Trump.
Well, you sound like him today. That's not what we do here in a democratic environment. We have a conversation, and that's what this was today. And unfortunately, I would just be very, very careful with listening to him and the people that is buzzing around him. We have professional people within this county who know what they're doing. And when I got in here last year, with all due respect, I was shocked because he sat here for 4 years before I got here, quiet as a church mouse. Nothing was wrong. Was there ever a press conference as the minority commissioner, or did he ever stand up and say, oh my God, We are going to be $38 million in debt next year. I never heard it. Everybody was slapping each other on the back. The moment I got in office, I had a press conference, I stood up here, we had financial professionals come in and tell the people, this is what is going on. It's not being run the right way. And you have to make difficult decisions, and that's what I did. And of course, I might pay the political price, but I could put my head down on the pillow because I told the truth. And I can't say the same for other people. Don't listen to the nonsense. Don't listen to the noise. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
And so just to respond on the election, I was part of the election board, just like Commissioner Gahn and Judge Nealon. And it was clear to me that the election board did not have the authority to call for a special election. That's why I abstained. I'm not voting yes or no, because I think what we did was not legally the way things should have been done.
But 3 of our judges did. They just ruled on it. And you have and Judge Nealon,
That
who
was
knows
my
more about the
opinion when
law.
I was sitting here that day, so I abstained.
So has your opinion changed? Do you
No.
think we should have a special election and let it up to the people? Or should
Whatever
we-
the judges decide.
should we let the backdoor
Unfortunately,
politics go on?
the unfortunate thing is the people don't have a big choice.
Sure
They
they
get
do.
who
There's an election.
They get who the Republican Party picked, and they get who the Democratic Party picked.
That's an election. Have the election.
Well,
Very telling, folks, when someone doesn't want an election and wants the political insiders to pick. What's the deal? What kind of deal do they all have with each other? That's what I'd like to know.
that's what I'd like to know.
Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to
Motion.
adjourn. Second, on the question, all those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, thank you. Hopefully he doesn't tackle me going out the door.